I'm going to be making some gluten-free brownies. This is like my absolute favorite recipe. It's so easy to make and everyone just loves it. So first we need 140 grams of butter. And we're going to put it in a saucepan because then we're going to melt it on the stove. I always use salted butter. I never use unsalted, never buy unsalted, always salted. $137, 140. So here is my butter in a saucepan and I'm going to melt it on the stove. While that's melting, I'm going to get my dry ingredients. So in a bowl, I'm going to put half a cup of self-raising flour or half a cup of plain flour and half a teaspoon of baking powder. I never have self-raising flour, so I always use half a cup of plain flour and half a teaspoon of baking powder. Now this is gluten-free flour. It's either my own mix or just a pre-mix from the shops. Half a teaspoon of baking powder. Next we're going to add 1 cup of sugar. I know it's a lot of sugar, but it tastes really good. And 5 tablespoons of cocoa powder. Mix that while the butter's still melting. Now the other ingredients that we need are eggs and vanilla. So 2 eggs and a teaspoon of vanilla. So with the vanilla, I always do 2 lids full. I figure 1 lid full is like half a teaspoon, so instead of doing something else, 1, 2. That's my teaspoon of vanilla. Now I need 2 eggs. Lucky last, I only have 2 eggs left. Oh, so I'm going to leave the eggs after I do the butter. The butter is close to melting. While this is still getting ready, I'm going to preheat the oven to 190. Check there's nothing inside the oven because I always store things inside the oven. I'm going to use my trusty tin that I got at an op shop. I love this tin. I don't know what size it would be, like 20 centimeters by 20 centimeters, maybe 18, I don't know, something like that. This away from the flame. And add some baking paper. I would just add baking paper to the sides, sorry, to the base and one of the sides, or 2 of the sides. So as in, I get a longer-ish piece and just put it across the base and towards 2 sides. And that always works fine. Butter is almost melted. So the order that I like doing this might be different to what's normal, but I'm going to put the butter in first, mix that all up, and then add the eggs. Because if you add the eggs at the same time as the butter when it's really hot, and I don't have patience to let the butter cool, then the eggs cook. It's just confusing. So melted butter, that's literally just off the stove. So I'm going to add this in, mix it. I love spatulas. Make sure it's a heat-proof spatula to get all the butter out. So that looks like that. Now the butter's cooled down like together with the flour, so I'm going to add these 2 eggs now. So 2 eggs. And mix those in. Now it is ready to put in the pan. So same spatula I used for the butter. And then I'm going to spread it into the pan. Give it some taps. And that's ready for the oven. So 20 minutes at 190 degrees. Brownie timer has just gone, so let's check the brownies. Every time it fucks up my glasses. Yep, they're done. I've done this recipe so many times. I know exactly the temperature, the time, and everything. So oven off. I'm going to leave that to cool in the pan for about 10 minutes, and then I'll turn it onto a wire rack. Should have done this when it was slightly hotter. There we go. So here is the brownie. Yum! That's my delicious, very easy, very yummy brownie recipe that I do all the time.